Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're stepping into the pressure cooker. I want to talk about 5 players as we head into NFL Wildcard Weekend who have the most pressure in Wildcard Weekend. I want to start off by saying the Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns game, they play at 4:30 tomorrow, January 13th. I think that those players, those two teams, aren't facing an immense amount of pressure. Now, of course, there's obvious pressure when we talk about the football game, but when we talk about figuratively who's under the most pressure, I want to leave that game out of this segment because I'm looking at it and I think, okay, both teams, they have great stories. I love what CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans have done with that team. I love what Joe Flacco has been able to do, coming in as the 4th quarterback to start for that team. Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year candidate. They have a lot going, but when I'm looking at immense pressure, we're talking about those 5 games that come after that. And I want to start it off with number 1, Tua Tagovailoa. I think this is a guy who is under an immense amount of pressure. We're talking about contract talks coming up. We're talking about, can you be a guy who can lead this football team in the playoffs? Now, we know what you can do when it's ideal, when it's sunny outside, when you got all your weapons. And I actually saw Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle practice, so they're looking like they're going to be full goals on Saturday night. But when I'm looking at Tua Tagovailoa specifically, can you be that guy in the biggest moments? Now, if you would have won that Week 18 matchup versus the Buffalo Bills, you would have had a rematch versus the Buffalo Bills. It would have been more ideal conditions. It probably would have been sunny. It would have been in Miami. However, I'm thinking that the way the Kansas City Chiefs have been looking lately, you might catch a good team on a bad day. You might catch a good team at a bad time because I think that they have an exceptional defense. However, if you can now start with the run game, you're going to have H-Hand. Like I said, Mostert is looking to be back. You have to make those big-time throws to Waddle, to some of those tight ends you have, to a Tyreek Hill. Now, put your team in a prime position, even though it's going to be ugly. It's probably going to be snowing. It's going to be gusty winds. All of those things out there on the football field. But I'm still counting on Tua Tagovailoa. Mike McDaniel, the Miami Dolphins, they still need him to play at a very high level. That's why I believe he has the most pressure as we head into Wild Card Weekend. Coming in at number two, got to go with Jalen Hurts. I think that when I look at this situation, when I say pressure, I'm not saying a guy is playing bad. But when I'm looking at pressure, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts for the simple fact that we're talking about your head coach being on the hot seat. We're talking about, okay, if he struggles in this game and if they somehow lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're going to bring in Mike Vrabel. We're going to look at Bill Belichick. All of these different options I've heard as I've looked at the NFL talks today. I think it should be none of that. If Jalen Hurts can go out there, and like I said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they stopped the run extremely well. So if you can get into a situation where you pass the football, now you get a comfortable lead. You get up 1-2 scores. Now you can lean on DeAndre Swift. Now you can lean on Kenneth Gainwell. However, it all starts with you. Jalen Hurts throwing the football to those weapons. Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Get those guys involved, even if you got to go Quez, even if you got to go Alameda, Julio Jones. You have to be the quarterback. You have to be the driving force. And, of course, don't turn over the football. Now, getting into my number 3 guy, we got Dak Prescott. I've consistently went to bat for Dak Prescott. This is a guy who's been playing at an MVP level. Dak Prescott this season has played his best season as the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. The reason that I say that he's the guy with the most pressure at that number 3 spot, I was consistently going back and forth. It was a battle between he and my number 4 guy. However, I think if the Dallas Cowboys lose this game, similar to Jalen Hurts, we're looking at a head coach who could possibly be on the hot seat. We're looking at Dan Quinn. He may go get a head coaching job. This may be your last best shot at trying to go get this thing. You have some guys that have to get paid. CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. I'm looking at different names and I'm looking at different numbers, which may just break the bank. Dak Prescott, you want to get another contract. You want to restructure some of those things. You want to go back to the bank and have that conversation with Jerry Jones. You have to play at that MVP level. You have to go out there against a Joe Barry-led defense who we know will bend, but are they going to break? You have to make them break in this situation. The way they play defense is going to grant you free yards, inside access, outside access. It's really one of those Vic Fangio-like schemes, heavy on the quarters, heavy on the matching principles. You have to be the guy in that situation. Mike McCarthy, give him all the motion he can get. Let Dak Prescott sit back in the pocket, make those reads, make the progressions, and try to get CeeDee Lamb another game with 200 yards. Now, getting into the number 4 guy we have on my list, that's none other than Jared Goff, Detroit Lions quarterback. The Los Angeles Rams, when they traded Jared Goff, they looked at him as a guy who was good, but could not get them to the promised land. They looked at him like they're trash. They traded him directly for a quarterback that they went and won a Super Bowl with in Matthew Stafford. You're playing against that guy. Not only do you have the opportunity to silence some of the doubt behind the Detroit Lions, you have the opportunity to silence some of the doubt between that team that we saw a couple of years ago. Nobody really thought that it was all Jared Goff. We were looking at Robert Woods. We were looking at a young Cooper Kupp. We were looking at Todd Gurley playing at an MVP level when they got to that Super Bowl. Even in that Super Bowl, you mustered up 3 points. I think Jared Goff has an opportunity to not only show Sean McVay something, but show Matthew Stafford something, show that defense something, show the city of Detroit why he's their guy and why he should be their guy. Not only to mention, this is a guy having those contract talks coming up. Jared Goff, you're under some pressure, but not the most pressure. However, I think you have a very good team behind you. They're going to play hard for you. This is going to be an exciting game, and I already talked a little bit about it. Link down below in the comments. Now, getting into my number 5 guy, we have none other than Josh Allen. AFC East winner, number 2 seed in the AFC. It's going to be essential that we see the best version of the Buffalo Bills in this game. No turnover to football, playing exceptional defense. But who does that start with? That starts with that guy playing quarterback. We know the mindset Josh Allen can get into. Like I said, even in that Week 18 game, you put up 400 total yards of offense. But let's think about some of those turnovers early. You had the strip sack fumble. And I think on the second interception, it was a 4th and 2, a net positive play. I don't want to ding him too much for that one. But the first one, getting into the red zone, simple interception to Eli Apple. You can go down the football field. Joey Porter Jr. is going to try to get you. Minka Fitzpatrick is going to try to get you. They have playmakers on that side of the ball, even though we're going to have to see offensively what can Mason Rudolph and those guys do. However, I'm paying attention to Josh Allen. What does he do in this game? Because I'm looking at this team as a primetime AFC contender. If they come out here flawless, do what they're supposed to do, I think when we get into these second rounds, when we get into the conference championship divisional round, I'm looking at them as a big-time matchup for possibly the Baltimore Ravens. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Who are the 5 players, or who are the players in general that have the most pressure as we head into NFL Wildcard Weekend? It's almost time for playoff football. Guys, I'm excited. I want to know what you think down below, because without you, there is no 24-hour sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But that's going to do it for today's show. And now,